So this is the video for section 1.5. I'm going to start with number 25. So here we're going to write this in interval notation. So when you solve an inequality, you end up with a solution like this. If you're going to write it in interval notation, just remember that the less than or equal to, the greater than or equal to takes brackets. The less than or greater than, you're going to have to put parentheses. So same thing with number 27. Here we got brackets with the 4, but parentheses with the 6, meaning that the 6 is not part of the solution. For number 33, we're going to write this in, they're asking us to graph these also. So when you graph these, there's no need to put values all over the place. And so here is just going to go right there for that particular one. For number 27, I'll put the 4 there, I put the 6 there. And so that's going to be brackets, that's going to be parentheses, and it's going to go just like that. For number 33, we're going to write this and basically what they're asking us is actually to graph these. So hold on a second, I want to make sure that I wrote these correctly. Number 33, I might have written number 33 incorrectly. Yeah, so number 33 says, write each interval as an inequality involving x and graph. So for this one here, we have 2 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 5. So we're going to go ahead and graph it the same way that we did the previous ones. Since it's less than, it's going to be a bracket, and that's how you do number 33. For number 37, here we're going to say that x is greater than or equal to 4, since it goes from 4 to positive infinity, so it's going to be bracket, and then it's just going to be an arrow going that way. Okay. Now number 55, we are going to solve it, and then we're going to go ahead and graph it also. It says write in interval set notation or interval notation. We'll go ahead and do both. So this becomes x is less than 4. Set notation would be just like that. Interval notation will be with the parentheses. We'll put the 4 there. So it goes from 4 to negative infinity for number 55. Number 60, the same thing. We're going to subtract the 5 from both sides. So you get 2x is greater than negative 4. Divide both sides, and I get that x is greater than the negative 2. So here we're just going to write it in set notation. Interval notation is since x is greater than 2, it goes from negative 2 to infinity. And if we were graphing it, it would be parentheses all the way to positive infinity. And that's number 60. Sorry, all right, let's do 61. So 61, we're just going to go ahead and solve it. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides, so it becomes 2x minus 1 is greater than or equal to 3. I'm going to add the 1 to both sides, so 2x is greater than or equal to 4. Divide both sides, and I get that x is greater than or equal to 2. Set notation. Interval notation. We can use the interval notation to help us graph it. There's going to be brackets, and it goes that way for number 61. Number 65, first thing I'm going to do is do distributive property. Combine like terms. Subtract the 1. And I get that x is less than or equal to 2/3 for number 65. And so we're going to go ahead and write it in set notation. Interval notation, it goes from negative infinity with the brackets, right? We can use this to help us graph it. And so it goes that way right there. So that's number 65. Number 67, the same thing. We're going to go ahead and solve these. If I distribute the 1/2, it gets 1/2 x minus 2 is greater than x plus 8. The other thing that I could have done is just multiplied everything by 2. If I would have multiplied everything by 2, I would have had x minus 4 is greater than 2x plus 16. So subtract the x from both sides, so negative 4 is greater than x plus 16. Subtract the 16, so I get negative 20. So I get x is less than negative 20. I'm going to write it as, so negative 20 is greater than x is the same thing as saying x is less than negative 20. Set notation. Interval notation, since x is less than negative 20. And then, of course, if I were to graph it, let me graph it right here. And so it's going to be parentheses to negative infinity for that one. Number 71, I'm going to add 6 to all sides. So 6 less than or equal to 2x less than or equal to 10. Divide everything by 2, and I get that 3 is less than or equal to x less than or equal to 5. Set notation is already there for us. Interval notation like we did previously. And of course, if I were to graph it, I'm going to use brackets on both of them. And that's how you do number 71. All right, number 75. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to multiply everything by 4. So I get negative 12 is less than 2x minus 1. It's less than 0. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So I get negative 11 is less than 2x less than 1. Divide everything by 2 to isolate the variable. And so set builder notation is negative 1/2 less than x less than 1/2. Interval notation is going to allow us to graph it, right? So we're going to put the negative 11/2 and the 1/2 down here. And of course, there's going to be parentheses because that's what our interval notation had. All right, so that's number 75. Number 79 is going to be similar. So for this particular one, I'm just going to go ahead and FOIL both sides. So it's going to be x, let me use the black ink. So it's going to be x squared minus x minus 6 is greater than x squared minus 1. Subtract the x squared from both sides. So I get negative x is greater than negative 1. What I'm going to do for this one, I'm going to add the 6 to both sides. So negative 1 plus 6 is going to be 5. And then if I multiply both sides by negative 1, I have to flip the inequality symbol. So x is less than negative 5. Interval notation goes from negative 5 to infinity. And we can use this to allow us to graph it again like we did previously. It's going to be parentheses to negative infinity. All right. Number 83. I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So let me make sure I wrote it correctly. So 1/2 is less than x plus 1 over 3. And so if I multiply everything by 3, so then I'm going to get 3 over 2 is less than or equal to x plus 1 less than or equal to 9 over 4. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So it's minus 1, x 9 over 4 minus 1. So this is just going to be 2 over 2, right? Because that's what I can write 1 as that. And then this one's just going to be 4 over 4. So I have 1/2 is less than equal to x less than 5/4. And so here, my interval notation, and then it's going to be 1/2, 5 over 4. And then for this one here, of course, I'm going to use brackets, right? And that's how you do number 83. Oops, sorry. This should have been parentheses, my bad. Which means, I'm going to redo this one here real quick. And that's number 83. And that is the end of 1.5.